safe schools took a back seat this election, overshadowed by issues like climate change, tax reform and the Game of Thrones finale. But safe schools remains a controversial issue that often comes up around elections. The anti-bullying program, first implemented in 2010 and designed to educate children about LGBTI identities, has faced ongoing opposition from the Christian right. Most recently, Chinese language leaflets were circulated on WeChat, claiming that the program would teach students same-sex intercourse outright, which is absurd. No one in public schools is learning anything about sex. The right to self-identify one's gender is a favourite talking point of the right. It's persistently argued that gender dysphoria can be picked up by children through mere exposure. The right seems to be under the impression that gender identities can be spread as easily as whooping cough, but unlike that very preventable disease, they're willing to actually do something about it. The Daily Telegraph spuriously reported back in September that transgender sensitivity training for teachers was causally linked to an increase in children wanting to transition, leading Scott Morrison to famously weigh in on Twitter, saying, "We do not need gender whisperers in our schools, let kids be kids." He was taking the political football, punting it way out of bounds and then taking a shit on crowdcam. So to tell us more about the issue, we've got a piece here from political correspondent and actual trans person, Avery Hutley.
Transgender. It's a word that strikes fear into the heart of many a Mornington Peninsula mother, and while it's tempting to assuage those concerns with a jovial, "Transgender? I hardly know her." Alas, I do know her, all too well. 4 years after Caitlyn Jenner's belated gender reveal party, the transgender phenomenon remains new and mysterious to the Western world, and politicians remain eager as ever to exploit the fear of the unknown. While the debate around safe schools continues to march backwards in place on the travelator of progress, concerns are being raised that this non-compulsory program goes too far, that it's not enabling but actively encouraging children to abandon their pronouns and dress codes and accept the fashionable anarchy of transgenderism. And who could blame them? With the highest attempted and successful suicide rates of any Australian demographic, joining Team Trans sure seems an enticing prospect. But for all that talk, opponents of transgender identities never seem to fully grasp what transition entails. Let me tell you, it's a lot more than just wearing a dress. Take changing one's legal gender marker in Victoria or New South Wales. This requires you to have undergone gender-affirming surgery, essentially a hysterectomy in trans men or castration in trans women. Your new genitalia have to be independently inspected and verified by 2 different medical practitioners who legally do not have to buy you dinner first. To be eligible for the surgery itself, you're going to need tens of thousands of dollars, at least 2 years of lived experience in your chosen gender, and another 2 separate evaluations from mental health professionals who will ask you all sorts of stupid questions like, is a little voice in your head telling you to cut your penis off, as if I couldn't do that at home for way less time and money. Which is to say, it's a real pain in the ass that requires a lot of emotional energy and commitment. And yet, transition continues to be talked about as if it's as easy to get and regret as a tattoo. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a bunch of drunk men having a legendary night out, deciding to show how much they love each other by getting matching genital reassignment surgery. But if my experience living as a woman these last few years has taught me anything, it's that I'm probably wrong. Maybe I've been going about this the wrong way. Maybe gender whispering is more effective than I'd realised. I hit the Melbourne streets to find out the real strength of the transgender agenda. So first up, what's your understanding of the Safe Schools program?
It's making sure the kids get there and home again without getting in any trouble.
Safe school? Safe teachers. It's all been checked.
Is it like the gay thing at schools?
Just stop kids who might be gay, etc., getting picked on. Basically any kid getting picked on.
What's your understanding of being transgender? And no right or wrong answers, just how do you understand that?
Well, it's just, how do you describe that in a few words? Adopting both sides of the sexual spectrum, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
Whatever the person thinks right is in their mind. That's what they are.
I know there's a whole lot of divisions these days, and basically, I don't care what they call themselves, so just go, I don't care what you are. When you're ready, you can explain what your feelings are. and I'm not going to judge on it. I go, okay, you're not heterosexual, you're one of the others. If you want, you explain it to me. If you don't feel you can, don't worry about it.
And have you ever thought about transitioning yourself?
Look, on a good night out,
No, not really. No, not for me.
No, at my age, it's a bit late. No, I haven't.
It's never too late.
I'm having enough trouble getting a woman. Will it make it any easier to get a woman? No, I haven't.
Have you considered cutting your penis off before?
Not today. No.
No thanks. No, I'd always want a penis, yeah.
Cutting it off? No, but when I was younger, it was hard to have a piss in the morning to get it to go down. No, I never thought about cutting it off, but I was just wishing it had a joint in it so I could point it down.
no. Not exactly, no.
Okay. Imagine my disappointment. At around 0.6% of the population, I sure was hoping to make some more trans friends. But it seems that just hearing about an identity isn't enough to convert you to it after all. Maybe people are the best judge of their own lives, after all. I hate to say it, I think I agree with ScoMo. We should let kids be kids, and that means letting trans kids be trans kids, and letting people who want to cut their dicks off do so with dignity. It's our God-given right. Avery Hutley for The League.